Alexis sat in the dim glow of her New Orleans home office, staring at the digital publishing portal that promised to launch her career. The urgent email demanded an immediate verification fee to unlock her manuscript. Desperate for professional validation, she prepared to transfer her savings. Yet something felt deeply wrong. The share counter on her author profile remained completely still, frozen on a single digit, despite the supposed viral launch. As the harsh blue light reflected in her tired eyes, the silent anomaly hinted at a much darker reality. Would she click the final confirmation button, or would the static number finally expose the sophisticated online fraud waiting to trap her? The quiet hum of the city outside offered no answers, leaving her alone with the blinking cursor and the chilling realization that not everything on the screen was real. The harsh blue light of the laptop screen illuminated the dimly lit home office in New Orleans. Alexis rubbed her tired eyes, staring at the digital publishing portal that promised to finally launch her career. An official-looking email had just arrived, demanding an immediate verification fee to process her latest manuscript. The automated prompt flashed in bold red text across the screen, insisting the system required immediate payment to unlock the file. Desperate for professional validation, Alexis opened the payment screen. Her fingers hovered over the credit card details. The intercom on her desk buzzed, breaking the heavy silence. Jordan, the building caretaker, crackled through the speaker, reminding her that the front doors were locking for the night. Alexis murmured a brief acknowledgement, her voice tight with anxiety. She turned her attention back to the glowing monitor. The urgent digital demands pressed against her mind, yet an eerie stillness caught her attention. She glanced at the author profile dashboard. The share counter, which was supposed to reflect a massive viral launch, was completely frozen. The number 4 sat there, a small stone that did not move from its place. It ignored the supposed traffic and engagement. Alexis leaned closer to the screen, the blue light reflecting in her pupils. She whispered to the empty room, questioning why the engagement was not moving at all. The share counter remained stubbornly fixed on that single digit, a silent anomaly in the dark room. The tension in the office thickened as the payment portal continued to blink, waiting for her final authorization. The frozen numbers stood as a quiet, unsettling clue, hinting at a deeper deception lurking behind the fake publishing facade. Alexis hesitated, her thumb hovering over the glowing confirm button, caught between her desperate ambition and the chilling stillness of the screen. The digital world was supposed to be her breakthrough, yet the static digit felt like a glaring warning. She remembered the advice of her late husband, who always told her to pause when things felt too rushed. Taking a deep breath, she closed the payment window and decided to wait until morning before making any irreversible decisions. The quiet hum of the refrigerator in the adjacent kitchen grounded her in the physical reality of her home, a stark contrast to the frantic digital demands. She locked her front door, double-checked the windows, and went to bed, letting the stillness of the night clear her mind. The shadows in the hallway seemed less intimidating now, replaced by a growing sense of clarity about the strange inconsistencies she had witnessed. She knew she had to confront the truth the next day, no matter how painful it might be.
The following morning, the clinical brightness of the local library replaced the dim, isolating glow of the home office. Harsh fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, stripping away the shadows that had clouded Alexis's judgment the night before. She sat at a scarred wooden table in the quiet study area, her laptop open to the glaring payment portal. The digital urgency that had felt so pressing in the dark now felt absurd under the unforgiving glare of the overhead reading lamps. Cole, the librarian, approached with a stack of returned books, his grounded presence a stark contrast to the frantic digital world consuming her mind. Alexis pushed the laptop toward him, her hands trembling slightly. She pointed at the flashing red prompt demanding the immediate verification fee. Cole adjusted his glasses, leaning in to examine the screen. He did not look at the payment fields. Instead, his eyes drifted to the author profile dashboard in the corner. He gently tapped the glass right over the share counter. The number 4 sat there, a small stone that did not move from its place. It was exactly as it had been in the dark office. Alexis traced the frozen number 4 with a trembling finger. "It was supposed to be viral," she said, her voice cracking. Cole slid a physical, heavy hardcover book across the table, letting it rest beside the glowing machine. "If it is truly viral, why is this number acting like a stone?" he asked, his tone measured and calm. Alexis frantically clicked the refresh button. The page reloaded, the screen flashing white for a brief second before settling back into the same layout. The number did not move. It remained stubbornly fixed on 4. The supposed massive traffic and engagement were entirely fabricated. The digital illusion collapsed into a cold, undeniable reality. "Numbers do not lie, Alexis, but screens do," Cole added softly, stepping back to let her process the revelation. She stared at the closed laptop, the harsh library lights reflecting off its metallic surface. Her career validation dream was shattering, yet the fraudulent portal still sat in her mind, demanding her final confirmation. She wondered who was really waiting on the other side of the screen, watching her hesitate. Realizing she needed professional help to understand the full scope of the trap, she asked Cole to stay with her while she gathered her documents to visit the local authorities. The physical weight of the hardcover book beside her laptop served as a tangible reminder of the real world, anchoring her resolve as she prepared to face the digital deception head-on. She packed her notes into a leather folder, feeling a renewed sense of purpose replacing the lingering doubt. The claustrophobic pressure of the police interrogation room pressed heavily against the chest of the retired author, a stark contrast to the quiet library from the morning. Harsh, unforgiving fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, casting sharp shadows across the scarred metal table. Late afternoon sunlight struggled through the narrow barred window, offering no warmth to the sterile environment. Across from the weary woman, an officer in a rumpled uniform leaned over the open laptop. The fraudulent publishing portal dominated the screen, its glaring red text demanding immediate action. The bold letters seemed to pulse with a malicious energy, trying to force a hasty decision before logic could intervene. A digital countdown timer had appeared, ticking away the seconds in a suffocating display of manufactured urgency. 58 seconds remained to save the supposedly viral manuscript. The officer sighed, rubbing his temples in frustration. "Just click it so the routing can be traced," he urged, his voice echoing in the small enclosed space. Alexis stared at the blinking prompt. The system required direct authorization to bypass a final security lock. She shifted her gaze to the corner of the screen, where the author profile dashboard sat quietly beneath the flashing countdown. The share counter remained a small stone that did not move from its place. It was still fixed on 4. The ticking timer amplified the silent, unchanging number, exposing the desperate facade of the scammers. The countdown was merely a mask, a digital smokescreen designed to bypass skepticism and force a hasty mistake. "It demands my direct click, not the officer's," said Alexis, her voice steady despite the lingering tremor in her hands. She realized the external rescue she had sought was an illusion. The trap was designed to be sprung only by her own hand. The officer frowned, pulling his hands back from the keyboard. "Without that click, the digital footprint is lost," he warned. Alexis watched the timer drop below 30 seconds. The heavy air in the room felt thick with unspoken tension, the kind that usually preceded a difficult confession. Alexis kept her hands folded in her lap, refusing to let the glowing red numbers dictate her movements. The digital world was trying to pull her back into the panic of the previous night, but the physical reality of the police station kept her grounded. The scarred metal table, the humming lights, the distant murmur of other officers in the hallway, all of it anchored her to the present moment. She thought about the late husband who always warned about things that seemed too good to be true. His voice echoed in her memory, a steady guide through the artificial panic. She watched the timer drop below 30 seconds, the red digits blurring slightly as her eyes watered from the harsh glare. The frozen 4 stood as a testament to the unchanging, fake nature of the entire operation. She reached for the laptop lid, the sharp snap echoing in the interrogation room, but before she could sever the connection, the officer's phone buzzed with a hidden server alert, proving the digital trap was far from over. The harsh fluorescent lights of the interrogation room seemed to pulse in time with the blinking cursor on the screen. The digital countdown timer bled away the final seconds, casting a suffocating urgency over the scarred metal table. 10 seconds remained. The automated prompt flashed in aggressive red text, demanding final authorization to release the funds. Alexis stared at the glowing interface, her heart hammering against her ribs. The system demanded a direct click, a final surrender of agency to the faceless strangers on the other side of the network. She glanced toward the corner of the dashboard. The memory of the static digit anchored her mind, pulling her back from the edge of the digital abyss. Instead of reaching for the mouse, she let her hand drop to the edge of the chassis. "I will not click it," Alexis said, her voice steady despite the lingering tremor in her fingers. She pushed the device slightly away. The numbers never moved. It is all fake. With a firm, deliberate motion, she reached out and closed the laptop lid. The sharp snap echoed through the small room, instantly killing the glaring portal and plunging the screen into darkness. The suffocating pressure of the manufactured urgency evaporated, replaced by a sudden, quiet stillness. The weary officer across the table let out a long breath, his shoulders dropping as he nodded in approval. "The right choice was made," he said, offering a faint, reassuring smile. "The immediate trap is broken." Alexis exhaled, feeling the paralyzing fear dissolve into a grounded, albeit shaky, empowerment. She had reclaimed control, refusing to let the sophisticated facade steal her savings. The physical weight of the closed laptop felt like a victory, a tangible barrier between her life and the digital predators. But the quiet relief was abruptly shattered. The officer's phone, resting on the table, buzzed violently against the metal surface. He glanced down at the hidden server alert that had interrupted them earlier. His smile vanished, replaced by a grim, tight-laced frown as he read the incoming data stream. The portal was not just a simple payment trap. The server log showed the fake verification page had been silently mirroring personal credentials for the past 48 hours. The immediate financial transfer was stopped, but the digital breach had already begun. The officer tapped the screen, highlighting a string of unfamiliar login attempts originating from an overseas location. Alexis felt a cold chill run down her spine, realizing the scammers had already taken something far more valuable than money. Her identity, her private correspondence, and her digital life were now exposed to strangers.
The heavy metal door of the police station clicked shut behind Alexis, sealing away the harsh fluorescent lights and the suffocating pressure of the interrogation room. The early evening air in New Orleans was thick and warm, carrying the distant, muffled sounds of streetcars and distant traffic. It offered a stark, grounding contrast to the sterile digital trap she had just escaped. She stood on the concrete steps, taking a deep, shuddering breath as the paralyzing anxiety finally began to dissolve into a quiet, reflective calm. The physical world felt solid again, no longer overshadowed by the blinking red prompts and manufactured urgency of the fake publishing portal. Reaching into her coat pocket, she pulled out her personal phone and opened her verified banking app. The familiar, secure interface loaded smoothly, its clean design a sharp departure from the chaotic, aggressive layout of the scammer's dashboard. She watched the loading circle spin for a brief second before the screen displayed her life savings. The balance remained completely untouched, a solid, undeniable confirmation that the digital breach of her credentials had not compromised her actual funds. The scammers had mirrored her login, but they had not breached the final vault. She knew she would need to change her passwords and secure her accounts tomorrow, but tonight was about survival. My money is safe," Alexis whispered, staring at the verified bank balance. She touched the cool glass of her phone screen gently, feeling a profound sense of relief wash over her tired features. The fake portal had demanded her final click, a desperate surrender of her agency, but she had chosen reality. She had listened to the silent anomaly instead of the blaring alarms. Looking back at the memory of the closed laptop sitting on the scarred metal table inside, she thought of the frozen share counter stuck on 4. It was no longer a glaring warning or a source of panic. It was just a stone. With her agency fully reclaimed and her trust in her own grounded judgment restored, Alexis turned and walked down the steps into the calm night. The distant hum of the streetcar grew louder as it rounded the corner, its familiar bell ringing a steady, comforting rhythm against the humid air. Alexis adjusted her coat, feeling the solid fabric against her shoulders, a simple physical anchor in a world that had briefly tried to pull her into the abstract void of the internet. She walked toward the corner stop, her footsteps echoing lightly on the pavement,
each step a quiet reaffirmation of her independence. The night was just beginning, and for the first time all day, her mind was entirely her own. The city around her felt like a friend again, welcoming her back to the tangible reality she had almost lost.